Lavanya, thanks everyone for welcoming me. Let me quickly share my screen. Hello everyone, I'm Aruna Patam, and thanks for that really welcoming speech by all the ladies. And thanks to the institution for giving me an opportunity to interact with these incredible future women professionals I see here. Special thanks to Mehla for reaching out to me and inviting me for this event. I'm very thrilled and excited to be part of this webinar and to be able to share my knowledge and experience with this amazing audience.
Thank you so much.
So I won't be going too much. I think Gayatri has given a good intro about myself, but I will cover a bit about my background in terms of where I've come from. So I'm originally from Chennai. I did my schooling, bachelor, BBA and MBA in India, then migrated to Australia in 1997, and then did my master's in computer science, and that's how my sort of career journey started. So yes, highly passionate about AI and data science, and try to do a lot of community activity outside of my work. And I've been recently recognized internationally for my contribution to AI and data science. So I'm very pleased to be here and to be able to share this knowledge. All right, let's quickly jump into the topic. So before I talk about artificial intelligence, I will want to give an overview about banking. So what banking is, the functions, the teams, and why we think AI is important. So I'm hoping that will set the context for the rest of the presentation. Then I will jump into giving a simple explanation about what is artificial intelligence. Then we'll go through the evolution and history of AI, where it's come, how long it has taken to come where we are. Then we also look at some core technologies, the technologies that we need to be familiar with when we talk about AI and how they work. Then once we have the basic knowledge about AI and some core technologies, then I will jump into the AI in banking, which is probably the topic that's more interest for you guys. Also, I'll touch upon responsible AI, a subject very passionate for me. Yes, AI is a technology, it's going to enable banking, but if you don't use that technology responsibly, it'll have a huge impact. So I'll touch upon responsible AI and what it is. And finally, finish up with women in AI and why we need more women and how do we succeed in a career there. More than happy to answer any questions anyone would have. Yeah, that's pretty much is the agenda for today. Hoping it is okay. Any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll jump into the presentation.
Yes, ma'am, you can present into the presentation.
All right. Okay, so banking overview. So I would like to set the context for the rest of the presentation by covering about the banking itself. I think you guys are accounting and probably more interested in knowing a little bit about banking itself. So we look at what are the various functions, what is the various teams, as I said, how AI is helping the banks. I just want to give an overview. By all no means this is the set in stone. It's very, very complex, the actual structure and the operations, but I've tried to simplify it to just help explain the concept. So banking broadly is classified into two main categories, front office and middle office. In the front office, we see team functions such as sales, trading, corporate finance, so on and so forth. Middle office is about managing the risks of the banks, such as financial crimes, fraud detection, money laundering, terrorist financing, credit risk. How do you manage the risk so that the banks and the customers are well protected? Then the treasury is also part of the middle office. Then comes the back office, which is backbone for the banking operations. This is where you have compliance, accounting, technology, and HR sits. And usually these back office functions are also referred as support services. In the previous slide, I have covered the major functions, front office, back office, and the middle office. Now here, what I'm trying to articulate is what are the teams that are required to run these operations, be it middle office or front office or back office, right? So what are the key teams? So I've just, again, simplified. There are two key teams that exist in the banking industry, the business team and the technical teams, right? The business team or the people who are providing the services to the customers, people who are frontline, who are talking to the customers and providing the services to the customers. So they use the technology to perform their business function. Then you have the technology teams, as it says, they are the ones who build softwares and solutions and applications. Then there is a very important team that exists, which is, I will call as a bridge between the business and technology. The main purpose of this team is to, this team have a very good knowledge of both how a business operates and how a technology can enable the business, and they try to be the bridging. So they need to ensure that the technology is enabling the business to perform the function by making sure that technology actually delivers what the business is looking for. And you would usually see, the data analytics and reporting functions pretty much sit in this bridged functionality. I've also highlighted technology on the bottom, which is the foundation, and it touches upon everything, no matter whether you are a business or a technology. You need to have understanding of technology. Now, the depth of the knowledge of technology may vary depending upon what role you have, but it is very, very important. On the top, I've highlighted executives. So when you move on from your career, either from a business layer or a technical layer into senior executive roles, you need to have a good understanding of both the teams, like business as well as technology. Just to give an example, if you take my career journey, professional journey, I started my career as a technology person, building softwares and solutions. Gradually, as I started working for financial services, started gaining business domain knowledge, I moved into that bridging team where I was delivering analytic solutions, AI and ML, where we sit between the technology and business. We talk to the technology and tell them what solution we need, and we talk to the business to understand what they're looking for. So this team is very crucial. And then from there, I moved into the executive senior leadership role. So no matter whether you're coming from a technical stream or a business stream, having a good knowledge about technology and having a domain knowledge really will help you to further progress in your career. Now, why do I need to know AI? So you may be asking, like, I'm a commerce student, AI is a technology, why should I know about it? So to set some context here, this is just a diagram which I took, which says the use cases of AI in banking in 2021. And as you can see, there is a huge cost-saving opportunity in all areas, right? Front office, middle office, and back office. And you can see front office has got a lot of savings compared, and front office is where most of the business functions sort of operates. So, no matter where you are, you need to have a knowledge about AI. Now, the knowledge of AI, the depth might differ. So, for example, if you're a business person, then the knowledge of AI should be, how do I use AI to enable my day-to-day work? Because the bank might have implemented AI solution and you need to know how to use the technology and you're able to trust that the technology is actually giving the right outcome. Now, if you're a technology person, then you need to have a good amount of AI technology knowledge so that you are able to build applications on software's AI systems and AI solutions. So you need to have the technical skills. This is where you have the data scientist, all of those data engineers sort of sit in that space. Now, there is this middle layer I talked about, person who bridges between the AI, business and the technical. And they also need to know AI because they are the ones who need to first find out what are the problems or challenges the business have. And they should be able to then identify, okay, this technology or this solution, this AI application can help solve the problem. So, the type of work you do will be different, but you all will be touching AI. So it is very important that everybody has got a good knowledge of AI if you wanted to stay competitive in the job market. All right, now that I've given a bit of an overview of banking itself, let's get some basic concepts about AI. Allow me to play this video. It's a short video, about less than 2 minutes, where I have explained this in a very simple term. Is the volume audible? Just want to check before I play it. Hello? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. We cannot hear the volume, ma'am. We can only see the video.
You can only see the video. Maybe I might have to enable something. Just give me a sec.
Yes, ma'am.
Stop sharing. Maybe when I share, there is something I have to share the sound. That's why. Okay. So now I'm going to play. Let me know.
Machine learning is a subset of artificial
Yes, ma'am. We can
intelligence
hear the sound, ma'am.
and is a science of getting computers.
I'll just play it from the beginning so that.
Okay, ma'am.
Artificial intelligence involves using computers to do things that traditionally require human intelligence. Machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence and is a science of getting computers to learn and act as humans do. Deep learning is able to process, interpret, and make use of far larger and more complex datasets. In traditional programming, a computer is given input data and an algorithm to then produce output. If a computer is given input data with the corresponding output data, so it can learn the algorithm itself and therefore continue to predict the right output data, it is called supervised learning. Alternatively, if a computer is given a complex set of input data with no corresponding output data, the machine identifies the relationships in the data to provide valuable insights for decision makers. It is called unsupervised learning. Machine learning has a simple if this, then that mechanism. Deep learning has if this, then that, then what about X on repeats. In other words, machine learning can ask and answer one question and then requires human intervention. Deep learning will ask and answer one question, but then, based on that answer, ask another question and answer it, and so on and so forth.
Okay, so hope you found that useful. So basically, AI has got a huge potential. It is revolutionizing every industry and it touches everybody, and everyone's life. If I have to give an analogy, just as electricity transformed as, everything 100 years ago, AI is actually going through the revolution right now. There is no industry I can think of where we can't use AI, starting from healthcare to finance to agriculture. So the applications of AI is huge and it's a very evolving field. More and more applications are being built as we speak. So a little bit more about, artificial intelligence. So AI at its core refers to where machine mimics the cognitive functions of the humans. Now, what are cognitive functions? They are the, expressing, calculating, reasoning, imagining. They're all the cognitive abilities of human beings. Now, AI, the machines are able to mimic these cognitive functions. The good thing, the two major factors that sets apart AI as compared to the previous revolution is that AI is not static. It learns and thinks. Previously, in traditional programming, you have to program what you want the machine to do by hard coding, by writing codes. Whereas with artificial intelligence and machine learning, you just have to give the data and it learns by itself through the patterns, and it can make decisions by itself. Now, the other factor is, yes, machine learning and artificial intelligence can do a lot of cognitive things. They are very, very good at calculating, remembering things, organizing. But when it comes to creative aspect, still humans, we still have the edge over the machines. Things might change in the future, but for now, so what we see AI is it amplifies human capabilities. So there is always this fear that AI is going to replace humans. That's not the case. Every technology revolution that came through, there was always a fear that jobs are going to go away. In my view, jobs are going to be replaced with something different, right? Now, AI amplifies the human capabilities. The activities that is very monotonous and mundane and repetitive, you don't want to spend your human time into it, so you want the machine to do it for us. They're very good at it. They can do it faster, so that we can focus our energy into more creative and more challenging work. So see AI as helping humans and augmenting human capabilities and not, replacing, at least for now. All right. Now I wanted to cover a little bit about the history and evolution of AI. AI has been there for a very long time, and people have been thinking about it also for a very, very long time. It all started with philosophers, having a thought, could we have an artificial being or robot? Can we create them? So that thought started this AI revolution. Now I'm going to just go through, the various evolution and stages of AI. It all started in 1950. This is where a computer scientist posed a question: are there any imaginable digital computers which could do well in imitation game? That's the question that was put in 1950 and sparked the conversation. Then in 1956, it became artificial intelligence. John McCarthy, who is well known and he is being considered as the father of AI, described and coined this terminology when he put the proposal in the 1956 Dartmouth conference. Then in 1959, we saw the first lab being established for artificial intelligence. After that, it was established by MIT, and then later on it got merged with the computer science lab, and it's then started calling as MIT CSAIL, which still now remains the most important lab in the world for artificial intelligence. In 1975, we saw the first powerful use case for AI. It started with Stanford University. They developed mycin in 1975, which helped physicians to identify the bacterial infection called meningitis. So that's the first ever use case where AI was used. Then AI usually has got those AI winter, we mean the interest in AI drops, the investment in AI dropped. So it was dormant for quite a number of years that we were not using AI much at all. Then in 1997, we saw the first computer to beat a chess champion. IBM's chess playing computer beat the world champion. So initially in 1996, one game was won by the computer, and in 97, entire match was won by the game. That was a big turning point. It shocked the world. Then in 2002, robots replaced humans. Amazon made this big decision to replace human product recommendation. So you have this recommendation engines which recommends you products. Those days it was only human. We were doing this analysis, and then Amazon first introduced AI system to actually do the recommendation. And this started, the way forward, where businesses started looking at AI as something that they can use to optimize their business operations. Then in 2011, we saw, use of voice assistant. Apple introduced Siri to the world. Arguably is considered as the first ever voice-based conversational interface. That's how the voice assistant sort of came into existence. 2016, this is where AI moved into the next level of capability. In 2016, Google's AlphaGo AI mission bet the world champion for Go. Go is a strategy game. I'm not familiar with the game, but it's told that it's the most difficult strategy game, which has got about 1,080 possible outcomes. So it was Google's AlphaGo mission that beat the world champion there as well. Now it is evolving, as I was saying, that every day, every new technologies, new applications of AI is being found. It is been projected that by 2024, almost 25% of all the investments is going to be in AI. It's a really, really huge investment, and this figure would have changed now. So it's evolving. It's getting popular, and many industries have started using them. So that's a brief history and evolution of AI. Now I wanted to touch upon some core areas or technologies in AI that get used in various use cases. Now I won't go into the details, technical details. It will be just high level to understand what they are and how they are used. The first one is machine learning. So since the invention of computers, we have used programming to make machines smarter. But today, what we need from computers is not just answers. We want recommendations, we want insights, and we want them to predict. And that is why machine learning has become very important. Machine learning is the science of getting computers to act without being explicitly programmed. So as I mentioned before, previously in traditional computing, you have to program the rules and then the computer operates. In machine learning, you don't need to hard code. The machine learns by itself. The machine part of the machine learning refers to the use of computers in predicting tasks, much like how humans predicted. We are not looking for any more humans to be involved in the prediction. We would like the machines to do it for us. The learning part of the machine learning refers that the program changes how they process data over time, because as they process more and more data, they understand what the data is, what the patterns are, and they learn and become better at it. Much similar to how humans, we learn, through books, and then we become better in our knowledge. Similarly, machines also do that, machine learning. Now, the various applications of machine learning I've just highlighted there. Some basic ones, the series of the world that we use, the filters that we use in the selfies, spam alerts in the Gmails, the Googles that, they are all using AI, online food delivery portals, personalized marketing. The applications of AI is immense and is ever expanding. But these are some of the typical use cases of machine learning. Next comes is the neural network. Artificial neural network is nothing but mimicking the human brain. The computer has inside neurons, and the connections between the neurons is similar to how our brains are being structured. Right here, what we do is the artificial neural networks, the algorithm, it can figure out how a car is made or a book is made by just looking at the data itself. So what you need to do is send huge volumes of data. I know the data could be, CT scans or X-rays. Then the artificial neural networks looks at the data, looks at the pattern, and then it can predict diseases, for example. This has been very helpful to the doctors who don't have to look at all this data to predict. They're usually used as to double check whether the machine has done the right thing, and also to get a second opinion. So that's how the neural networks work. It's basically pumping the data, it looks at the patterns and comes out with what it thinks the data is made of. Typical applications, pattern recognition, creditworthiness to figure out whether bank is going to get bankrupt or not. So neural networks get used in those applications. The next technology that I want to talk about is deep learning. Now, deep learning and neural networks, they are similar. They both work on having huge volumes of data to be sent to those algorithms, and they learn through the data and the patterns. Now, the difference between the simple neural network and the deep learning is, as you can see, there is only one layer, the depth it goes to understand the data. Whereas in deep learning, it goes multiple level depths. You can see so many layers, which means it is going in depth to understand the complex patterns within the data to understand more and be able to predict better. So usually you will use deep learning algorithms if you have huge volumes of data, and often using deep learning will give you better performance and accuracy. In terms of the applications, you have virtual assistants, autonomous cars. So there's various applications where deep learning is used, facial recognition, all these chatbots, they're all examples of how deep learning is being used. Natural language processing, it's a branch of artificial intelligence. So how we humans, we speak, we read, and we understand. Similarly, we are trying to make machines do that for us. So in here, the machines have got the capability to read our language, interpret our language, and make predictions from those interpretation. So here, the use cases that, it's a translation, the Google translation uses natural language processing. Fake news detection. So natural language processing can skip through all the data and then, tell us if the particular news is a correct or a fake news. Classifying email sentiment analysis. A lot of Twitter sentiment analysis is quite popular. So natural language processing has been used to understand the customer sentiments, whether the customer is happy with the service or not. You could look at the Twitter feeds and various other social media feeds and use natural language processing algorithms to understand more about the customer and how they're feeling. Cognitive computing, this is about the cognitive services. Now, we as humans can see, we can hear, we can touch and smell and taste. So, we are now enabling the computers to able to have those senses like how humans have. They can have, we can give them eyes, we can give them brains and visual. Even also, currently they're also looking at smell technology where AI can be used to predict the food spoilage by looking at the smell. So there's a lot of advancement happening in this space. Typical use cases: face detection, speech recognition, fraud detection. All these various applications are being used through the cognitive computing capabilities. Next is the computer vision. Again, so now it's giving the computers the ability to see and interpret the data, much like how humans do. So that's where the diagram illustrates that. So if you have a digital footprint like images and videos and other visual inputs, now you can send those into the computer vision algorithms, and they can interpret the data and come up with fine outcomes and predictions. Again, typical use cases you can see in face recognition, image classification, video analytics, emotion detection. Whether I've seen applications recently where you could actually look at the face of a person, understand whether he's got any worries, will it lead to suicidal tendency, and it can alert the relevant authorities so they can intervene and help the individual before anything untoward happens to that individual. So there are a lot of applications in computer vision, even in retail stores. They are using computer vision to understand how the customers move around the retail store. What is the popular destination they go to? So there's a lot of applications in real life. So that's pretty much the various technologies. Again, very high level, but at least you could appreciate the various technologies that are under the umbrella of AI. AI is a very broad term. There is a lot of technologies inside that enables it, which is what I've gone through a little. And now I wanted to sort of talk about AI in banking. What are the why AI is being used in banking, how it helps, and what are the use cases in various functions. Again, rather than me talking, to give a bit of diversity, I have put another video here. It's a short video which is going to cover how AI is being used in banking.
Hello everyone, my name is Aruna Patam. One technology that's going to change the way banking will operate is artificial intelligence. In this video, I'll be talking about AI in banking. It has been predicted that the potential cost savings for banks through AI applications is estimated to be around $450 billion. These opportunities are driven by technology advancement, increased profitability, competition, and regulations. I will cover in this video 6 key areas where AI can be applied in banking, such as process optimization, credit decisioning, fraud and money laundering, trading and wealth management, marketing and customer service, and security, and compliance. Now let's look at some AI use cases for each one of them. Number 1, process optimization. This aims at lowering operational costs and drive profitability, and involves both front-end and back-end activities, such as claims processing. Using AI's natural language processing, we can analyze large volumes of data about policyholders, their habits, etc., in order to offer a more customized products in real time. Mortgage processing. Again, natural language processing can be used to automatically read and understand documents that involves loan or mortgage processing. In customer service, custom-built intelligent chatbots can be used to streamline tedious customer service processes to automatically solve simple customer requests and prioritize other tickets based on sentiments for routing to the right team. Operational cost reduction. AI algorithms handle large quantities of data, thus increasing efficiency, accuracy, and speed of mathematical calculations, resulting in reduced operational costs. Number 2, accreditation. Credit scoring. Through AI, banks can capture data by analyzing mobile phone activities, social media usage, etc., to capture a more accurate assessment of creditworthiness. This will result in faster and cheaper credit scoring and ultimately make quality loan assessment accessible to a large number of people. Credit risk. AI can also be used to analyze vast amount of financial and non-financial data using trained machine learning algorithms to predict credit default with greater accuracy than the traditional methods. Number 3, fraud and money laundering. Fraud. Machine learning algorithms are capable of analyzing thousands of data points in real time and flag any suspicious or fraudulent transactions, thus stopping many fraudulent claims in the process. AI can be used to detect anomalies in spending behaviors, thus preventing thefts. Machine learning-driven fraud analytics can process customer, account, transactional, and even geospatial data to spot patterns that seem unrelated and simply go unnoticed by human data analytics. Money laundering. AI also has the potential to uncover money laundering activities by analyzing the wire transfer, the details about the money being moved, the source, destination, and the nature of the wire transfer, along with the relationships of the sender to the bank. Number 4, trading and wealth management. Banks are increasingly using machine learning algorithms to devise new trading and investment strategies. Trading. AI, by harnessing the predictive power of data, helps funds to spot new trends and potentially profitable trades that are outside of human scope of understanding. Also helps spot new signals of price movements to make more rapid trading decisions. Robo-advisors. AI-powered tools can help traders streamline the account opening process and advise them on scaling their portfolio. This could include developing a financial plan, advising on planned home purchases, retirement, protection needs, estate planning, etc. Trade channel optimization. AI can be used to optimize trade according to price and from
Ma'am, I think the video is stuck.
channel the process of payment more quickly. Stock markets. AI system provides a faster analysis of both structured and unstructured data related to stock markets, which can lead to quick decision making. Number 5, marketing and customer service. Using various AI solutions such as transcribe, sentiment analysis, keyword matching, event extractions, etc., we can answer questions such as, how can I keep my customers happy? What are people saying about me? Who is interested in my product? And what's happening with my competitors? And finally, number 6, security and compliance. Security. AI can help to find breaches in the security, such as analyzing documentation for account registration, detect issues within accounts, and more. Compliance. AI-based solutions can also scan and analyze millions of lines in regulatory content, including legal documents, commentary, guidance, legal cases, to spot applicable requirements much faster and to enable compliance. To conclude, AI is not the future of banking, it is the present. As more and more data becomes available, new technologies like quantum, edge, and cloud computing will continue to transform the market. Success requires a holistic transformation spanning multiple layers of the organization and need to pull together people, processes, and data and have them all work collaboratively. For banks, ensuring adoption of AI technologies across the enterprise is no longer a choice, but a strategic imperative. I hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching.
So I guess that gave a very good overview about banking and how AI is being used in banking, and I hope those technologies I just went through sort of help you understand how these technologies are being used in banking. Now, the next concept I wanted to talk about is responsible AI. Now, why is responsible AI so important? We are relying on AI to make decisions, while, yes, they are helping us to make faster and smarter decisions. If we don't use the AI system responsibly to the human beings, it might have a very severe consequences. There has been various issues related to bias. Bias in AI is a huge topic by itself. I've done a lot of videos and presentations about that. You can go to my YouTube channel and you can find more information. So just to give an example, bias can happen when you're not as I explained before, AI system is being built through data. Like data is the oil or engine for AI system. Now, if this data that has been given to is not diverse, if it is not inclusive, then the prediction will also be issue. It will not predict accurately. For example, now if you are trying to hire an individual based on an AI algorithm, and if you feed in with lots of CVs, resumes, and most of the resumes are male and females are less underrepresented. So the data, the machine learning is going to learn from the data, and it's going to think that men is more preferable than female. We have seen that historical data has always had female salary much less than male. Now, if you are going to use that algorithm, it's going to predict, and the impact is multiple folds. Before it was humans who were biased. Now the impact would be, yes, there is impact, but only compared to an AI system which is going to be scaled up and can process thousands and millions. The impact we can imagine it's going to be huge. So responsible AI is important for the success of artificial intelligence itself. Now I've just explained that. So definition, responsible AI means designing and building the system that acts in ways that are responsible towards the human beings. It includes that the systems are responsible, they are reliable, you can trust them, and they are transparent, right? So that's what responsible AI is all about. Now, there are two key pillars that guidelines of the framework for responsible AI. One is on the ethical aspect, which is around, is my AI system, not biased? Is it inclusive? Is it fair? All those, is it ethical? All these components is covered under ethical AI principles. And then explainable AI is about we should know why AI system has made a decision, right? If it's rejected a loan for an individual, why did it reject the loan? What were some of the input variables that influence the decision. This needs to be explained by the AI system. Now, one of the challenge is, depending upon the algorithms we use, sometimes, you can't explain why it has made that decision. For example, if you use a very basic, simple machine learning algorithm, logistic regression, then you can explain why the AI model decided an outcome. But if you're using like deep learning, complex algorithms, then explainability is a little bit of a challenge. There's a lot of research and work is happening in the industry to ensure that explainable AI is we are able to explain the AI, and it is all the more important for banks because banks are heavily regularized industries. And just to give you an example, I have worked for many years in credit risk. The models that you use to predict credit worthiness of the individual, they need to be approved by the APRA, which is the regulatory body. And they don't approve any models if you can't explain why the model is doing. So because of that, we are quite restricted in what model we use. So that is why explainable AI is very important. I'm conscious of time, so I'm going to just quickly run past. So ethical AI principle, as I mentioned, it is around accountability. Who is accountable for any decisions made by the AI system? Inclusive. Does it include, every, that is the data inclusive? Does it include all the diverse population of the data? Is it reliable? Is it safety? Is the model predicting accurately? Is it deteriorating over time? So those are the factors that they take into consideration. Explainable AI is about fairness, is about being transparent, is the data about the personal data is protected? Is my data secure? All of that aspects come into the explainable AI principles. Now, as I said, people, I can't emphasize enough. Yes, there is technology, but people are the important factor for the success of AI. So every organization should focus on training them on the responsibility or responsible AI. So make sure they don't build any system which impacts humans, or nobody uses a system without even having a knowledge about how it's going to impact the humans. So women in AI, as I've been saying in many events, we women represent 50% of the population, but when it comes to AI and data and technology, we are only less than 20%, 15%. So which is not right, especially when we are saying that AI is going to be touching everyone's life, but AI is currently ignoring 50% of the population. So that's why having women in AI is very, very important. There are, I just wanted to bring in this quote by Bina: gender diversity in technology, specifically in AI, is lacking. So we need to, if you want to build a low bias, ethical, fair system, you need to have more women in the workforce. Now, there are some challenges, why women, is not able to, establish themselves. As we all know, it's a male-dominated field. Often it is considered that STEM is not for females. Girls are not encouraged to take STEM courses. So there's a lot of work is happening to address these challenges. Bias against mothers: if we are taking a break for raising a family, then we are, cut out of the, professional career ladder. Lack of confidence. We need to have more female role models who have been there and done it, who we can look upon and take inspiration from. And lack of visibility. We women, we don't try to showcase our capabilities. We shy away. So that's another challenge that we face as women in the field. Now, how to succeed? Now, first is building your personal brand, which is, I can't emphasize enough. These days, we are very fortunate to have various social media LinkedIn, Twitter. Be active, be bold, share anything. It can be very simple, doesn't matter. Keep sharing. That's how the world is going to know what you're capable of, and that's how we build your network. So have a mentor who has been there, have the experience, who can guide you and help you in your career. Confident body language, building your network. These are all very important. Network is very, very important. It's all the more easy these days. So just don't shy away. Be bold to showcase your capabilities. And you should have a growth mindset. Keep learning. You need to be a lifelong learner. And these are some of the key tips I can provide. Now, if you go to my website, there is a blog article I've written. It's got a lot of details about how you want to break into AI, what you can do. So please feel free to look at those. There are a lot of YouTube channels I've got on these various topics. You can refer to them as well. That's pretty much it. Sorry, I took 5 minutes more than the time, but I hope I've given this justice to the topic and able to cover. These are all some of the way you can connect with me. I'm very active in LinkedIn. I've got a YouTube channel where I try to publish a video once a week. You can go and see they are quick 3 minutes, 5-minute videos similar to what I've just given to you. There's a website where all my events, blog articles, videos, I put it there so people can reach out and learn from them. And you can email me or connect me through LinkedIn. Always happy to share my knowledge and experience. That's it. Happy to answer any questions anyone has. Okay, thank you.
So I have a query, ma'am. So who
sure.
owns the data that is essential to artificial intelligence?
Sorry, come again. I didn't get that.
Who owns the data which is essential to artificial intelligence?
That's a very, very interesting question, Lavanya. You actually touched upon a huge area by itself. It is the data governance area you've come upon. The ownership of data is a very important factor. Usually, typically in a banking or any business, the business owns the data. Now, a technology team or custodians of data, they make sure that data is protected. They are in a form that can be used. But end of the day, if you look at the data governance area, there's a lot of roles. You have data owners who are usually the business, data stewards who are representatives from data owners who will make sure that the data is being used in the right form. They usually sit in the business. Then you have data custodian who sits in the technology space to make sure data can be consumed. It's labeled correctly, all of that stuff. So it's a huge area, but a very, very important area. Data is very important for AI. If your data is not right, you don't have AI. So often when we go and talk to clients and they want AI, the first question we ask is, what's your data maturity? Have you got if not, then have a data strategy, have a good data foundation. Once you've collected the data, then we can get AI to enable insights from them. Good question.
Thank you, ma'am. So one of our friends has posted a question. Who's responsible for AI decisions and actions?
Okay, another good question. So that's exactly right. So when I was talking about responsible AI, I was talking about accountability. Now, AI is an evolving field, right? So in my mind, typically, ideally, I know I'm not saying that it's happening in the industry right now. There's a different versions of that. Ideally, you would have a centralized team which is outside of business or technology, right? You do not want any attachment, because if you are building a system, you've got that attachment to it and you try to protect, saying that it is making the right decision. So outside of those two, usually you have this AI governance committee where they will, and that is the ideal model we are looking. In fact, there's MLOps framework, which is a different discipline by itself, where any machine learning algorithm you build, you need to first design it and take it to this committee, and they ask a few questions and they approve it. Then you go and build it, and then you do the testing, and you come back to the committee and say, yes, this is what we've done, this is what the test results are you okay? So the committee is representative from various business teams. They'll have people from business, from legal, from ethical aspect, from business, collectively sitting together. That's the ideal set. Not that the companies are doing right now, but there must be one person, one team, or one person, or one throat to choke if any of these challenges in accountability comes. Very, very important.
Thank you, ma'am. And
Good afternoon,
AI
ma'am.
Hi, Deepthi.
Hi, ma'am. Can AI take over the world, ma'am?
Okay, that's the constant question I get asked, and I would say no, at least not now. Probably not until probably in my generation, but there is a lot of advancements going in AI, but still we are way, there's lots to be done. There are two things. One is, are we technically advanced so that machines can take over us? No. Is it technically be possible to take over? Maybe in the future. But that's where AI governance, responsible AI need to come into place, to make sure we have checks and balances. If it's going to take over us and it's going to impact us, we probably should not be building those things, right? So that's where you need to have the governance in place. Government has got a lot of role to play in this. At the moment, they are late. They are pretty late. They are not, the industry has gone too far ahead, and regulation is trying to catch up. But hopefully they will come into this and put some guardrails.
Ma'am, what are the applications of AI, ma'am?
So many applications, right? I was, touched upon many of these. If you look at banking, I've talked about fraud detection. I talked about in marketing. If you want to give personalized service to your customers, gone are the days you just say, take a product and say, okay, customers come and buy the product. But nowadays, customer says, I've been banking with you, you know about me, you give me specific things that is for me, right? So very personalized services. The customers are demanding. They are now wanting services in laptops and smartphones rather than going to the store. So that's transforming the industry. So many in agriculture, crop disease, predicting the crop disease in utilities. You wanted to understand the water damage. You wanted to know the utilization of water you are used there. In medical, people are using AI to prepare to invent drug. Right before, it used to take thousands and thousands of man hours, years, sometimes many years. These days, AI is enabling all of that. So, as I said, there's not one industry I can think where AI cannot be used. Looking at your photos, iPhones, everything, whatever we do, AI has been everywhere.
What are the cons of AI, ma'am?
Cons in the sense, advantages of AI.
Yeah.
I mean, as I was speaking, right, it helps you to do things faster, by automation. So you got hyper automation, robotic process automation, where people, as a simple example, you previously, if you have to apply for a claim or a loan, you have to go to the branch, sit down, provide all the documents and all that stuff. Now you can have a phone, you can have a chatbot, you can send your details over the phone. If the claim is not too complex, they check, verify against the data, and then immediately within an hour, your claim is approved. Only those complex things goes to the claims officer to process. Now, there's two things here. One is you got the loan approved very quickly. Also, claims officer don't have to look at each and every loan. They only look at very complicated loans to process. So there's a cost saving, time saving. You could use the time to do something bigger and better. If you go through my presentations, many applications I've highlighted there.
Thank you, ma'am.
No worries. Thank you.